So I'm going to just kind of highlight some of the information to a certain point. We're going to talk about some dates, particularly this November. And I'm going to also talk about some segues off because there's some dates along the way as we approach this date maybe we call the Mayan calendar ending on 2012, but they have some commonality and some milestones in all of this. And like I said, that one is November 2010, and his report starts basically by kind of saying in general that his data that is going to be terminating with the fact that the powers that be are going to be pleased and content. So now what does that tell me? Well, that tells me that even though it seems to be like an ebb and flow of good and bad for us, that it generally, like he says, ends on the note, the information that he's got ends on the note that the powers that be are happy. Now, some of the stuff that I'm going to go over sounds good, but if the whole thing ends up with them being happy, well, to tell you the truth, from what I understand the powers that be act like, that won't be good for us. So there's some other cross-links in his report, and here's what he says they are related to. And here is what they're content with: war, population locations, and location issues with that population, food shortages, political chaos, economic troubles, and economic collapse. From November 11th through February of the next year, this coming year of 2011, it says, however, there could be what emotionally would be gained by these powers that be over the last 5 years of their agenda. Over working in the last 5 years, they've been very pleased. It's going to be losing some ground, and it's going to be gone and lost. The powers that be are going to lose what ground they've gotten over the last 5 years through the winter of 2010 and 11. That doesn't mean they haven't, we've won the battle, though. And that's what I'm trying to make sure we look at here, because that's kind of like taking a bobcat, being on a hunt. He's hunting you, or you think you're chasing a grizzly bear, and he's double back, and now he's chasing you. And so you have this give and take, but generally the report ends up with us getting the bad end of the stick. And so his report is basically just predicting that in November 8th through November the 11th of this year, over a 4-day period of time, there's going to be a tipping point. This is the same time frame. Now, I know that I said November 3rd, but that is right after we go into the last section of the Mayan calendar. And it's called the 7th day. So that transition occurred right before this webbot report put this on there. And I thought, guys, I really thought that was important enough to note, because although we're not talking about 2012, there's going to be a lot of people dead way before 2012 if things continue the way they're going.
No, I totally agree with you, Doc. And it's funny that you say that, because Bible prophecy also parallels this. And what is interesting to me, and something that when we were talking last night, was the fact that the Mayan calendar is so accurate that it actually takes it down to the day, which is, if you ask me, it's hard to, how the heck do they do that? Even today's technology, how do you do that? But they got it down to the day, and that doesn't necessarily mean, if I understand this right, that November 3rd, all hell's gonna break loose. But what it does mean is that is the day that the transition begins from the 6th night to the 7th day. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
Now talking about the accuracy of the calendar, it's cosmically aligned. It's based on astronomical, astronomy.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, it's so accurate that NASA uses it as a reference too. if it wasn't accurate, they wouldn't be using it, I'm sure, So, but there is a change, and this change that's coming has included some descriptors in the report, and I kind of lined them all out, and I think these will help people understand what we're going to be facing. So if you're ready, I'll just go through those.
Sure, go ahead.
Rapid change, blood freezing, heart pumping fast, heart straining, breath seized, and hairs erect. Like the hairs on your neck get
sure.
erect.
Mm-hmm.
Like kind of like ooh, kind of creepy stuff.
Sure.
Plus war, economic upheaval, and those are supporting subsets of other data for the report that include information supporting high levels of shock and awe for people, and the highest satisfaction for the powers that be begins to peak in this report during this time frame. Now, I'm going to get into the report a little bit because I think we really need to be paying attention, because the things that are coming in this report are also been written about biblical manuscripts. They're also in the Mayan calendar. So I think let's just get into it from this modern deal, and then we're going to talk about the fact, and I'm just going to hint at it here, folks, this program's written with what's called fuzzy logic.
Fuzzy logic, right.
Fuzzy logic was the programming that was used to write the Promise software at Inslaw that has creeped into the wrong hands by corruption and has been devastating this country, which we'll be getting into real soon. So it's kind of like Cliff High is chasing the dragon's tail and able to interpret what might actually be coming through this software, before it happens. And so here's some of the stuff that it's talking about. It says that there's going to be a case where it becomes more and more clear that there is going to be a diaspora of people. Now, diaspora just means a migration of people. And they're going to use this, the powers that be are going to use this migration for their own agenda, and this information about it indicates that it's because of food shortages and that it's going to be pressing the planet at a global level, but not at first. The food shortages show up globally later, but they get started, according to this report, in fall of 2010. That's right now. What have we been seeing in Russia?
Right, we have the the bad fires in Russia. And also there's some shenanigans in the commodities market too, where you have people, one person, and I don't know the guy's name, I read this on Bloomberg, but he bought up all the cocoa. He bought up all the cocoa and he chucked it in a warehouse. And he did that. And he did that why? Not because there was a shortage, but now that he owns all the cocoa and nobody can get it, hey, let the price wars begin. Let's go, to the highest bidder. So that's what's going on. You not only have natural events, Doc, but you've got the human, the greed factor also playing into this.
Well, I think that's the overtones that the calendar was trying to predict, was this karmic attitude the population was going to be seen thrown on them because of this evil agenda these people get into.
Right.
And so, talking about that, here's what he says is up. It says that in the language of the report, through the fall of 2011, there is a move towards there is a indication of massive movement of people, and here's some summaries of the wording and so on. Instead of just kind of telling you the whole story, I'm going to just give it to you in bites. The info shows these words: Spain, northern Italy, Switzerland, Bavaria, the Central European mountains, that they all end up becoming a refuge from some kind of sudden climate change that is an event that's serious, that will continue, but this event that causes that will be temporary, but the kind of problem that we have creating this one particular event here goes global. It's kind of like being hit once, having a pause, and then being hit big, you know. And that's what it looks like it's happening. It says the data indicates a movement is due to these people moving around is due to flooding from both rain and coastal waters rising. And they said that, however, as they move, many will be devastated by other conditions like freezing because it will be winter. Now, this is, guess what, a language that seems to be what, well, pleases the powers that be. Now, isn't that just wonderful? You know, what event have we been talking about that could change the climate of Europe?
Let's just say the has something to do with the Gulf Stream, if I remember right. Is that am I close, Doc?
And it's not that the Gulf Stream goes away, because these streams are created by the spinning of the Earth. It's the temperature drop.
Right.
And that made it warm. So I'm going to kind of dive into it starts on page 11, Griff, if you've got yours, or anybody else.
Now, hold on one second, Doc. Before you go any farther, I'm going to take the break now before you get into this, and then when we come back, we'll do a quick King's Court, and we will get into the webbot. Folks, stay tuned. We will be right back after these quick messages.
Most Americans know the significance of July 4th, 1776. However, few know the importance of September 17th, 1787, the day the Constitution was written and adopted by our founders. Unfortunately, over 200 years later, this sacred document is under attack, along with our beloved republic. Throughout the span of history, brave men and women have rallied behind banners which have served as symbols of liberty against the forces of tyranny. Today, we have the Constitution Pride Flag to show our support for the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, freedom, liberty, and justice for we the people of the United States. Now available at www.1787flags.com. Get your very own Constitution Pride Flag today and receive a free pocket Constitution with your order. www.1787flags.com. The official website of the Constitution Pride Flag. That's www.1787flags.com.
This is Shepard with the Intel Hub. Don't forget to check out my show weekdays at 3 p.m. Central on American Freedom Radio.
Did you ever wish that you could have done something while you still had the chance? What will you do if your income ends tomorrow? Or if you lose your home, as many already have? Do you have enough money to survive through an economic depression? If you don't want to gamble with your future, then FreeToProsper.com can help you quickly end your debt problems, protect your property and possessions, and develop a personal strategy to get you through the hard times. Most importantly, you get to keep your money and not pay another cent to creditors. Our program is often superior to bankruptcy, consolidation, or settlement. Visit FreeToProsper.com to find out more. This is your real chance to act ahead, so don't delay. Your future may depend on it. Call 718-615-0123 to learn more. That's 718-615-0123. Or visit FreeToProsper.com today.
Join me, Joe Joseph, and my co-hosts John King and A.C. Griffith, Thursdays and Sunday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern Time for Freedomlink Radio's Bridging the Gap on the Intel Hub Radio Network.